Hey there, my friends. It's Jen Pitta with By the Shore Stamping. Welcome into another edition of Teach Me Tuesday. Today I'm going to walk you through one of the projects in my new stamp club. So for the past, year or so, probably more, I've been doing Stamp of the Month, which was a class I held here on the Cape. And then when the pandemic hit, I'd been doing it online. So that class was 4 cards. They were kind of stepped up and featuring some techniques and things. And then there was also a 5th design that was a thank you card and a pillow gift, as well as written instructions. And since I'm getting more and more people to do my online classes, I've kind of altered the way I'm going to run this class, and it's going to allow for me to reward you a little bit more. So I'm going to walk you through this card, and then I'll explain a little bit more about Stamp Club, and I'll show you this month's cards because the deadline to register is Friday, July, what is that, the 10th? I don't know. I don't even know what day it is, but it's this Friday, this coming Friday. So let's go ahead and get started with the card. So I always start the Stamp of the Month Club and now Stamp Club. Usually we'll start with a color scheme. So my color scheme for this one is Rococo Rose, Petal Pink, Soft Seafoam, and Seaside Spray. So those are the colors that I used. You'll notice I didn't mention one of the pinks. There's also Flirty Flamingo in here. I didn't really use that as a cardstock color, but I did use it when I was coloring. So just because I needed another pink color in my coloring aspect, and you'll see that in the end result. But for the actual color scheme of the 4 cards, because I make them all color coordinate, it was the Rococo Rose, Petal Pink, Soft Seafoam, and Seaside Spray. So just a fun, bright, summery kind of theme. So let's go ahead and fold this in half. We're starting with 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to fold this to make my card base. If you wanted to score it, you would score this at 4.25, but I just use my fingers to fold that, and I'll just use my bone folder to get a nice crisp crease on that. Okay, so there's my card base. And then I took some of the In Good Taste paper. That's one of the featured papers for this month's kit as well. So I'm using that paper on all of the cards. So you can say, here's the paper. It's the In Good Taste 12 by 12 DSP, and you get a ton of designs. There's 24 pieces of paper, 12 different designs front and back. So that is what I used as kind of the featured element on all of the cards, and I used this piece for this particular card. So I'm just taking a 3 3/4 by 5-inch piece. Oh, I didn't cut this right. This should be 3.5 by 4 3/4. Let me just adjust that quickly. So yeah, there's that. I wasn't paying attention when I cut it. The white piece is 3 3/4 by 5. The pattern piece needs to be 3.5 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and attach those together. And this is going to be kind of the background of my pretty little card. Oh, I didn't even show you the stamp set that I'm using. So the featured stamp set, so each month for Stamp Club, there'll be a featured stamp set. So this month, or a bundle, this month we're actually featuring the Jar of Flowers bundle. So this is kind of the focal point of all of the cards, but I did pull in the Lovely You stamp set as well, just because that has a lot of great sentiments, and this one has no sentiments. But you could use whatever sentiments you have. You don't have to use the one that I'm using if you don't want to. There is the option to add that on if you'd like to, though. But that's the stamp set we're using, and it makes some really, really beautiful cards. So as a Stamp Club member, this month, you will get a roll of this Seaside Spray metallic ribbon. You'll get a package of the Rhinestones, and I believe you also get a Wink of Stella glitter brush pen. So you'll get those parts, and then all of the card kits, the pre-cut card kits, to make 8 cards. So there's 2 each of 4 designs for this, and that'll all be shipped direct to you. And like I said, you have the option to add on the Jar of Flowers bundle if you want, and that other stamp set as well if you choose to. But you can also make any of these cards with whatever you have on hand too. Just use the card kits and let your creativity go. So I'm going to tie a little bow on this off to the left. I'm going to floof that up a little bit and get it nice and tiny. I don't want it big. I want like a little, just a little bow like that. And you could do a knot instead if you wanted. This one is just not wanting to stay put. It keeps wanting to go up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just let her do her thing. It's kind of like curly hair. You just let it do its thing. All right, whoop. I'm going to cut that. Well, that did not work very effectively. Let me fix that. Okay. This one's a little long now. Trim that one down too. Okay, there's my little bow. And I'm going to attach this to the card with some dimensionals. So I'm just going to grab some of our regular dimensionals. I'll put one in each corner and a couple in the center just to keep it from sagging. I love this stamp set. The flowers, I will tell you that this month's class does feature some coloring, quite a bit of coloring, and also some fussy cutting. So if that's not your thing, this probably wouldn't be the month for you to join Stamp Club. But the cards are really pretty, if I do say so myself. All right, so next I'm going to take the jar stamp set. I'm going to just take this little jar stamp. I'm going to put that down on my table. Sorry, I should have had that on the block, but I did not. And I'm going to grab my Memento black ink. So really the only ink you need, I believe, for this is the Memento black if you're using alcohol blends, or any black ink pad if you're just using regular markers. I'm going to stamp that. I'm stamping it towards the bottom because I'm going to punch it out. So there's my little jar. And I'm just going to slip this inside the punch with it upside down so you can see where everything is and I can get that straight. So that's going to come down here. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and take the flower image from the stamp set. And I'm going to use the Memento black again. I'm going to do it this way. Just make sure that I get it fully inked. Like that. And then I'm going to stamp this on this little piece of white cardstock. There you go. So you get a nice, pretty image. Then I used my blends to color. So I'm not going to do the whole image, but I'll show you just my way of coloring. So I usually start with my light blends and I color the whole thing. So I'll color the whole image with the light version of the marker. And some people do this completely opposite and start with the dark and then go over with the light, but I've always done it this way. But you could try it both ways and see what you like better. I will tell you right now that I am not the most adept at blending and coloring. It's not my greatest skill. I love to color, but blending for a realistic look is not my skill. I'll tell you that much. But I love coloring for just the sake of coloring because it makes me calm. I love to just sit and mindlessly color something and not worry about anything else. So that, while it's not necessarily a skill of mine, it is a fun hobby of mine. I actually have a bunch of adult coloring books and everything because I don't really color in them very much anymore right now because I've got all this to color with and play with, but sometimes I will pull it out. I did a few weeks ago. So like I said, I just colored this whole thing. I went like on a little kick of coloring in my adult coloring books for a while. I have one that's called Color Quest, and it's little tiny itty bitty squares like this grid paper, and then they're like color by number. So I actually kind of like that because then I don't have to think at all. I just color whatever color it tells me to. So now I'm going to go back with my dark. So the Stampin' Blends come in a dark and a light combo pack. So I'm going to color the center dark because that would obviously be darker than the rest of the flower. And I'm going to color some of this other parts here dark as well because they're like the inside folds and whatnot of the flower. I'm going to kind of do some shading around the edges here. Again, this is not my forte, but I try. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of color like that. Then I'm going to go back with my light And I'm just gonna kind of blend that out, doing small circles, kind of getting rid of those harsh lines and just kind of blending the colors together. Hence why they're called blends, because they kind of migrate. And you're supposed to do like small sections at a time. Like that flower might have been a little big. I probably should have done like a few petals and then done the blending and then gone back and finished some more coloring. So now you can see it kind of blended a little bit, but it also took some of the darkness away. So I just go back again with my dark marker and add some of that darkness back in wherever I feel it needs it. There you go. And so you would keep doing that until you get the color that you want. So that is how I would do that. But for the sake of time, I already did my coloring and I fussy cut it with my scissors. So now I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of adhesive to the bottom of this, and I'm going to overlap it with the mason jar like that. And then I can actually attach this to my card using some dimensionals. So I'm just going to pop a few of these on here. Whoops. So we'll get a little bit of dimension. And kind of went overboard with those, probably. I'm just going to stick that right here. Then I need a sentiment for this, so I'm going to go ahead and find somewhere. Where'd it go? I pre-cut a piece. Oh, here it is. It's up here. And I took the Wildly Grateful stamp from that lovely You stamp set, which was one of the add-on ones that had all the greetings. I took that, and I'm going to ink that up. I'm actually going to test it because I put the label on this a little crooked, so I just want to make sure I can get it straight. Nope, I need to go down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do that. There we go. I adjusted correctly. Then I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm just going to go ahead and snip a little banner end in each side. One on that side, like that, and one on this side. So I slit in the middle and then I go corner to center and corner to center, like that. And then I'm just going to use regular adhesive across the middle and attach that to the center of my mason jar, like that. Then I'm going to take the Wink of Stella that I told you about, that, as I said, comes in the kit. I'm going to go ahead and add some sparkle to these flowers. You do want to be careful with your Wink of Stella because it will act like a watercolor pen, so stick to one color at a time. And then I usually just make sure I kind of blot it out before switching to another color. And I'm just smooshing it on here. And we'll switch again. And then I'll do the little blue ones too. Just adding a little bit of sparkle. I love my Wink of Stella pen. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but I'll pick it up and see if that helps. So there you go. You can kind of see that shimmer. So fun. I love it. And then the last thing I did was use those rhinestones that also come in your kit. And I'm going to pick up a few of these and just plop those down on my card. And we'll do one down here, like that. And there is the finished card. So that's one of the 4 designs you'll get in Stamp Club. But as I said, you get 2 kits for each card. So you would make 2 of these. And then I'll show you the other cards. As I said, they all are featuring that same color scheme. So here's another one that's part of that class that registration is still open, and they all use Wink Stella on the flowers. I don't know if you can see. There it is. See that cool shimmer? I think this one's my favorite, I think. And then one of these two. I don't know, I love both of these. I love the sunflowers. Oh, so I did use, I did add some yellow into that color scheme when I did the sunflowers, because sunflowers need to be yellow. So that one, and then that one. So again, you would make 2 each of those. And then if you purchase the kit, it's $35. That includes the ribbon, the Wink Stella, the rhinestones, and then the card kits, 2 of each. So you get 8 card kits. And then if you want to, you can add on the jar of flowers bundle if you want to create them like I did. And then you can also add on the lovely You stamp set, or you can use sentiments you already have. And then if you stay a club member, and it's no commitment, you can do a stamp club anytime you want to, 1 month and then not do it for 5. Or if you end up doing it 6 months in a row, you get your a $25 product bonus after your 6th month if you stick around for 6 consecutive clubs. But you don't have to. You can totally come in and out as needed. So those are our cards this month. Registration is open until this Friday. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at jenpitta@comcast.net, and the link is in the description below if you want to register. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again next time for Teach Me Tuesday. Bye!